Morning all. It's been a while since a set review, and just landed is the best part of an order, some from Amazon France, some from Amazon UK, of the very latest sets, and some that are new this year but have been around for a few months. There's still several that's not quite available, but being technically, I don't want to say this really, autumn now, you should find out the new sets, the brand new sets for Christmas really. Should be filtering through any time now. Some have filtered through a little bit earlier. The latest incarnation of the Meccano, especially the small one, which is, from what we can tell so far, maybe not in the UK but we'll see, is not a G16, it's a G 2.0. The big one being the 2.0 XL. I don't know why they've changed it. Perhaps it makes it a little bit more iPhone-y type name, I don't know. Anyway, not too impressed actually on that, but we'll see when we get one, and if we get one, that's the thing. So we've got a lot of new sets to look at. We'll start with this one. Not very well advertised, and best price on Amazon UK. Now people may think that that is because of the result of the EU vote to leave the EU and the uncertainty in the markets, pushing up effectively prices if you're buying from abroad in the UK. However, that's all just about at the moment been wiped out, and more or less within a few pennies, that's about the same as it was before. That's, as I say, well, I checked it yesterday actually, so of course it could change, but you know, it's pretty normal. So not to worry about that, and as usual folks, shop around, because this time Amazon France were not the best, or for the most part not the best prices. Amazon UK came up with many of the best prices, and in all, although I ordered 5 sets of the same, and we'll come on to that when we get to that set, it is, I've ordered about 20 sets in all, let's say about 15, say one set being 5 of the same set, and I think all but about 3 or 4 have come from Amazon UK. This is one. This is 13 quid. This I can't say replace at the moment, because there's a couple of different styles of 5 sets. There's the shall we say site construction set with like the diggers and things and forklifts. Now that's £14.99. This was 13 quid, but I think this was the one I had to pay the postage for, which was about 2.5 quid, so the same price, give or take. So what we got then? Well, it is a very new set, and as you can probably tell by the perhaps somewhat tweaked artist's impression of probably a model based on the prototype model, you can see the strips look a little odd. Well, they do, because they're plastic. At least the prototypes of some of these modern sets, they were plastic. I didn't like it. For the flexible strips though, I can see that. I don't like the way the ends have been squared off, but we'll see if that's the case in a moment. But somebody's pointed out to me, the flexible, the memory metal if you like, flexible strips do have a tendency to split the paint on them. In other words, the strip flexes more than the paint, reliably anyway. We do have a rather reasonable looking car on the front. The rest of the models look a bit like we couldn't really be bothered. Box wise, it's a French made set. We've got the tear off strip, and it is made in France, it says on the back somewhere. They've also made a point of, let's hope you can see this with the shine off the window. There we are, we'll try that there. These, I call them sort of like pushing rivets, but they're calling them quick snaps. They're pushing pegs really there that have been seen on a few sets now. So they're promoting that. I presume that's one way of saying this is easier to build. And that's always really, I think that's always going to be a problem with Meccano. I don't see it as a problem myself, but then again I'm a lot older and I'm, well, as I said before, I'm more traditional I suppose than new, but I like to give some of the new sets a good look. And I was a bit selective on the sets. Some I've bought for other reasons. The 25 model set I've really bought just for the motor because it's a geared motor. But we'll have a look at that and all the other sets. There's a couple of junior sets as well. But on the face of it, and it is only just looking at the boxes, I think I should have been a little bit more selective. This is for my... how can you put it? Yes, Meccano can't stay the same as it was in the golden period, 20s, 30s and 50s. Otherwise, there would be no need to change, and it would be as popular as ever and making lots of money for whoever owned it. You might even say that Meccano would have never gone bust. But there's a lot more to it than just one thing, of course, as there always is. So, things have to change. Sometimes for the better, sometimes not. And I think with these latest sets, for me, it looks on the face of it they've gone a bit too far. I've even heard of plastic nuts, maybe plastic nut and bolts. Not wholly, and it's only one I've read, and it may be in the larger car sets, the on the face of it, very good looking Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Now they do look the part, at least on the box images I've seen on the internet, but at least they're relevant, they're cars from today, so that's something. Right then, enough waffle, let's get into the set. A usual tear off strip, if I can get it started. Let's do a live strip, hey? Need to get it started. Sorry for the noises outside, but you get this at this time every year. Now what I could do with is a Meccano screwdriver, which I don't happen to have, so we'll have to settle for keys. The workshop is somewhat of a mess at the moment, as it always is. Hey, we're going for a live one. And there you see, I've done it in one. Woohoo! Right, so French set. The boxes are solid, but not really once they've been opened. Here we go then. I'll turn the box upside down really, so you can see the view in the box. I suppose I ought to close some of these drawers really, haven't I? Right, there we have. One bag of parts. Oh dear. You know what I'm going to say, folks. I've noticed a bad thing, I've noticed a good thing. 3 bags of parts and instructions. So there we are. I don't think there's anything else on the box really. We've got the now common tools, the new spanner and the, well yeah, better to grip for a while at least, Allen key. 5 models, show those here. And I dare say that's the box, main box one, and I dare say all the others are, or at least most others will be downloadable instructions. Now I checked last night, there's none of the new stuff on there really, none of the new what were the multi-models if you like, the replacements for all the multi-models. So the more, I would have said more traditional at one time. I must admit that looking at these sets, and I don't really like the Evolution sets from 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, but I've started building one as it was a very cheap set at half price. And there's a hell of a lot more metal than these. They're positively mechanics made easy compared to these on the look of it. Anyway, we will have a look and see how we get on and make a judgment, I suppose, really, when we've finished. We may find good things, we may find bad things. Right then, instructions. Usual format. Tips there, what to do. You get 3 models to build in these instructions and 2 online. Oh, that's a different, we got green around the parts, inset parts lists there. Yep, all looks very clear. Not too small. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. Although I'm seeing it myself. Regular viewers may have noted comments regarding the white outlining and the newer sets the last couple of years or so. You only get the white outlining on black parts or maybe dark parts when they're layered on each other. So you've got a couple of black parts, say, black plastic parts layered on top of each other in the instructions. Now, what I found a bit of a problem sometimes is looking at those parts in the parts list where they haven't had the white outlining, and the white outlining was a great improvement. Well, folks, it looks like they've done it. What it seems to me, they've done two things. They've lightened the colour slightly, or the contrast, and added a bit of white outlining. That's good. That's very good. Like that. Right, we'll have a general look. They all look pretty clear. Of course, until you get into the builds, who knows whether there's any mistakes. These squared off flexible strips look very Vogue-like. Vogue was I think 1950s, well, copy really, using smaller holes and slightly less diameter bolts, quite large nuts actually, domed slotted heads, and it was made in Melton Mowbray in England. I do have a bit of that stuff lying around, and the ends are quite squared off on the strips. Why they've gone for squared off ends on the flexible strips, I don't know. Perhaps to maybe differentiate from other strips, which that ain't a bad idea. So we'll just have a quick blast through. Of course, yeah, nothing too untoward, but as I say, you don't really know, do you? So anyway, we've had a good look at that lot. Let's have a look at the instruction book, and I'm folding it on its back just for you guys and girls, I suppose. And it's Meccano is for all ages and sexes. We don't know that rubbish here, just get on with it. Right then, we've got the parts list. So what have we got in the way of parts? Well, I can't see any new plastic bolts. There's the pushing rivet, what they call them, quick snaps there. There's the like pushing peg that you use a rubber grommet on. They've been around for years. Nothing really new, I don't think, there, apart from the flexible strips. We'll have a look at those in a minute. Now, set wise value, we'll do the usual. We've got 36 standard bolts there, and where's the nuts gone? Where are the nuts? Oh, they're down here. A bit odd. 39. So what's that? It's usually about $2.99 for 100 if you buy bulk, I think, if I remember right, or $3.99. So off the top of my head, if you were to buy these the cheapest way, bulk, which would be 100 of each, you're probably looking at, I'll have to have a refresh, but you're looking at about £6. Having said that, there's only 36 and 39, 36 standard bolts and 39 nuts, so you probably would get them cheaper at that number separately. And a nut and a bolt is 12p if I remember rightly, so it would still be cheaper. It would still be cheaper if you were to buy them in bulk. So approximately just under half the value of the set at this price is standard nuts and bolts. So again, that's dealer prices, of course. Right, I'll be doing well on this one. I shouldn't speak too soon. I've had a few verbal mess ups, keeping it clean. But we're on one shot at the moment, doesn't happen very often. Right, what we got then? Let's start positively for a change, and then negatively, which is normal. We've got 3 bags in the set. Nicely sized bag here, and double bagged. Great, great. That's quite good. I don't know really why they've double bagged these, because they're not very heavy, but you've got a few pointy parts with the tools, so maybe that's a good thing. Now, nuts and bolts. Again, double bagged, reasonable size outer bag, not bad at all. Nuts and bolts we'll come on to in a bit. Look at the state of that. I mean, come on, just slice it across there, and the space would be so much. It just looked neater, I suppose. I know I'll go on about this, folks, but it just gets on my nerves. I suppose it provides extra packing when it's in the bag. So what have we got in here anyway? I've got the wheels themselves, which are new style wheels. Metal narrow strips. There's a curved standard width strip there. Right, I'll get these parts out, especially the new ones, the new flexible ones, get into the bag. The bags are about as easy to get into as usual. Now, one of the gripes with an evolution set that I'm doing now is that all the nuts and bolts and smalls are together, apart from some slightly longer ones. bolts and bolts even. I told you it was too good to be true about doing it in one take. So we've got the standard nuts and bolts all in one packet. Very good, saves you sorting it out. Here we've got some longer bolts and the nylon nuts. A bit bigger bag, but nicely sorted, easy to find your parts. Here we have other smalls, washers. There's a fair few washers there actually for a set, and you don't get many in sets these days. And other smalls, pins, peg spacers, obtuse angle brackets, some grommets. So that's good. Let's hope. Well, let's have a nice look. Let's say they've seen some videos and they've took note, and other people have said the same, and they've divided it up a bit to make it easier. However they've got to it, it is better to have some parts divided up, especially the smalls. It's an easier build. Right, we've got a double bag here. In fact, we've got 2 bags inside a bag. Again, that's good. More so when you've got heavy parts like lots of nuts and bolts. So we've got smalls here, we've got angle brackets, obtuse brackets of the narrow variety and the tools. And here we have a lot of new stuff, including the tyres. So let's have a look at the new stuff. So here we are, folks, with all the new flexible strips, varying lengths and a few curved. Different colours, as you can see. I've removed the tyres and the quick snaps, the pushing clip peg type things. That's those things. I've moved them because they ain't new now. Right then, so let's have a look at these flexible plastic strips and curves in this box. We've got well, the blue is similar blue to I don't know, the fairground set parts blue. Those, you may have seen my Steam model videos. Fairground sets, 8257 motorised fairground sets, and sometimes as Marks and Spencer's. They were around from about 1994 up to about 8-10 years ago, and that's the blue there. So similar, very similar. And the black, well, it's black, isn't it? I mean, it's not a grey, which is good. It's fairly uniform with some of the other black parts, and we can, I have something to hand here. This is the you can't quite see it this close up, but we've got the race car there. I will do a video on that when I get round to it. Let's see what the colour matching is like. Let's try and hold it so you can see it. So well, I suppose it's a bit more glossy, but then again, does colour really matter? Because just about all sets are different these days in colour wise. So narrow parts, we need some narrow strips actually. I could do with some to compare on sizes and therefore build quality. Right, okay, here's a narrow strip, you know, as usual, nothing special there. Okay, it's a longer one. Let's see how the parts match. Well, you know, let's get it right without moving it. As you can see there, it's pretty much spot on. Now the ends, being the chopped ends, are a little bit shorter on the outside there, but that could be good for clearances, and maybe that's why they've clipped the ends. As I say, it is a bit Vogue like, because I suppose most people wouldn't remember or even know about Vogue. Right, now you can see a couple of these parts are a little bent in transit. These are not going to take much. They're fairly robust. I mean, look, you can do stuff like that with them. They're not, you know, easily broken, but I dare say there will be problems with these damaged beyond repair in transit. Now there is a fix in regards plastic Meccano, temporary as it may be. Normally it's done with the 1960s, 70s flexible plates, where you sellotape both sides and then rebodge holes in. This is mostly done where you've got very brittle, see-through, transparent flexible plates there. So there's not a lot to say about these. They've all got Meccano on and the new symbol, the new M. And you ain't going to see this in this lot, I doubt it, but there's a part number as well by the looks of it. That's a D. It comes under D 104 with the M on, the new M. So you've got all the new logo. It's the same there. The new Meccano logo is there, very small, by my thumb there. So yeah, I mean, it's the only really way you're going to get a good feel is to go and have buy a set or find somebody. Come to a show. We'll show you there. They're a bit thin. I mean, you can see light through them, to be honest. But well, I suppose they will flex easier. I don't suppose they'll last as long. Yes, the paint won't split off them. But I don't think they're going to be very reusable, to be honest. But time will tell on that one. So that's about all there is to say. I'm not wanting to drag it out too long, as I normally do. Now, folks, the very latest 5 model Meccano Maker System set, the race cars, 162 pieces for 8+ years, or minimum age really, I suppose, in regards to small parts. Don't really see any problems or anything much different on the face of it so far. Some good improvements to the instructions, as I've been moaning about for a while. Price is about the same, but I dare say initial costs of new tooling for these flexible parts are quite high, but I dare say overall they're going to be cheaper to produce, especially in the thousands. We do have some metal parts, of course, nuts and bolts as usual. And the day they stop using nuts and bolts and the 532 threads is the day I stop buying new stuff. We do have some metal, not a great deal. So there we go, folks. The 5 model Meccano Maker System race car set, brand new out. Shop around as usual. RRP seems to be about 15 quid, maybe slightly less. Bye for now.